are going, the sender is going to transmit the message, it has to provide the authentication. Some attacks will be happen, some active attacks or the passive attacks will be happen. So in order to prevent some of the active attacks, so authentication will be provided, isn't it? Authentication is one of the security service. So authentication will be provided, that is when the message is transmitted over the network, when the receiver is going to receive the message, so receiver has to confirm that the message is from so and so sender. So in order to provide that authentication to a message, so it uses different types of techniques apart from encrypting the message. So along with the encryption, it is going to add some code. Okay, it will add some code to the message, or it concatenates some code to the message. So that whatever concatenated code is there, so that is called as the hash code. So what hash code is going to do is, hash code is going to take the message. Okay, so there will be a message, the sender is going to send a message to the receiver. So if the message is M, then hash function will be applied. This capital H is the hash function. So hash function will be applied, then it generates some hash code. So this H of M is called as the hash code, or it can be called as a message digest. It can also called as message digest, or it is called as the hash code. Hash code. So what is this? The size of the hash code is, so whatever the length of the message is there. So the message length is some arbitrary length. So what this hash function is going to do is, hash function takes some arbitrary length message. So whatever may be the size of the message, it takes some arbitrary length message and then it produces fixed length data. Okay, it produces fixed length data. So like the size of the hash code may be L bit. Size of the hash code may be L bit, irrespective of the size of the message. Then, so hash function, what the hash function is going to do is, simply it is going to perform some permutations and substitution and all, then it is going to produce the fixed length code. So this fixed length code will be concatenated with the message. So what the sender is going to send is, sender will send message along with this hash code. Okay, message will be concatenated with the hash code. Then the receiver, what the receiver is going to do is, receiver so the sender may encrypt. So once it is going to generate this hash code, sender may encrypt using the public key or the private key, symmetric key or the public key crypto system. So if the sender is going to encrypt the message using the symmetric key encryption, then the receiver will decrypt the message. So here the thing is, it can be encrypted using the entire message can be encrypted, means encryption can be applied. So here encryption can be applied to entire message using the key. So encryption will be done using the key. So over the entire message, the encryption will be happened. Then at the receiver side, so receiver will decrypt this entire thing. So whatever is received, so received message is a message concatenation with the hash code. So receiver will decrypt the message. So after decrypting the message, so what the receiver will get is, receiver will get the message along with the hash code. So once the receiver will get the message along with the hash code, so here receiver will apply hash function. So again, the receiver will apply, so whatever the hash function applied at the sender, the same hash function will be applied at the receiver. Then whatever the hash code generated, at the receiver, and whatever the hash code received by the receiver. So this hash code is sent by the sender. Alice is sending this one, and the receiver is calculating the message hash code by applying the hash function. So these two will be compared. So after comparing these two, if both are same, then the receiver will come to the conclusion that the message came from the proper sender. If both are not matching, then the receiver will think that opponent has sent the message. There is some attack, security attack, some active attack was happened. So that is the purpose of the hash code. So whenever it is going to generate the hash code, it will not use any key. So if you observe, hash function, simply message will be given to the hash code, hash function. So hash function will be generate the hash code. So it is not going to use any key in the hash functions. So there are different types of, in order to generate this hash code, it uses different types of algorithms. So we'll discuss the different types of, in this class we'll discuss, there is one algorithm called SHA algorithm, secured hash algorithm. So we'll see that. So in the last class we discussed what is hash function, okay, and what are the uses of the hash function, and what are the requirements of the hash function or the properties of the hash function. See how the initially message is given to the hash function, then whatever the result hash code is generated, so that will be concatenated with the message. Then the entire thing is encrypted using the symmetric key. So this is the encrypted data. First message, with the message some hash code is generated, then the message is concatenated with the hash code, then the entire thing got encrypted. And at decryption side, the receiver is going to decrypt the data, then receiver will get the message and the hash code. And then by applying the hash function, whatever the hash function is applied at sender, the same hash function will be applied at the receiver. And whatever the received hash code and what the calculated, if both are matching, then authentication will be proved. Okay. So this can be applied in many ways. So the first step is applying the hash code to the message and then concatenation of the message. And second step is, apart from encrypting the entire message, it is going to encrypt only the hash code. Whatever the hash code generated, that hash code will be encrypted and then message will be concatenated. So here confidentiality will not be provided because message is directly transmitted over the network. Though it is going to provide the authentication, message is directly transmitted. Whereas in first case, both authentication and confidentiality is provided. In third case, in first and second case, it is going to use symmetric key encryption. It is going to use symmetric key encryption. In third case, it is going to use public key crypto system, because for encryption, it is going to use private key of sender, and for decryption, it is going to use public key of the sender. And here, in the third case, it is not providing the confidentiality, because message is directly transmitted over the network, okay, without encryption. And in fourth case, again, it is going to use the public key crypto system where the entire message got encrypted. So here it is going to provide both authentication and the confidentiality. And in the next case, what it is going to do is, before going to apply the hash function, message will be concatenated with some value, okay, with some, we can call it as a timestamp or the nonce. So S is the nonce. Some arbitrary message will be concatenated with that, the original message, then hash function will be applied, then message will be concatenated. Here, authentication will be provided, but the confidentiality will not be provided, because message is directly concatenated and message is directly transmitted over the network. the thing is, in hash functions, for a given message, it is possible to generate the hash code, but for a given hash code, it is not possible to generate the message. Okay, to generate the message is not possible. So it is a one-way function. Hash function is a one-way function. And if you observe the last case, in the last case, it is going to use encryption. So some arbitrary message will be concatenated with the original message, then hash code will be applied, then message will be concatenated again, then encryption will be applied. So here it is going to use the symmetric key encryption. So again, so here it is going to provide both authentication as well as the confidentiality will be provided. So this thing we discussed, and the properties, what are the features or the properties of the requirements of the hash function we discussed in the last class. So hash function can be applied to a block of data of any size. We can take any size message and then we can apply the hash function, and it produces the fixed length output. Fixed length output for any length of variable length message, it produces the fixed length output. And it is relatively easy to compute the for any given x. So for any given message, we can compute the hash code, but so using the hardware and the software implementations, we can produce, but reverse is not possible. And so it is a one way or the pre-match resistant. Means for a given hash code, it is computationally infeasible to find the x. X is nothing but the message. So it is not possible. Okay, and for a given block x means some message, it is computationally infeasible to find y is equals to x. So where hash code of x. So if both are pointing, so if the hash code is generated, if some hash code is generated, then so for two different messages, same hash code is generated. Okay, so there are two different messages. X is one message and Y is another message. So it is going to generate some hash code. So whatever the hash code generated, if both are same, the hash code is same, but it is infeasible to find. If we know what is X, so for X, what is a hash code? We know that for a given message, some hash code is generated. Then even though there is a hash code, the same hash code is generated for some other message, it is infeasible to find what is that message. Okay, means same hash code will be there for different messages, but it is not possible to find for which messages, for which two messages it is generating the same hash code. So that is infeasible. That is called as a weak collision resistant. And so it is computationally infeasible to find a pair xy such that x of hash code of x is equals to hash code of y. Means, so here again, so same hash code is generated, but here we don't know what is the x and what is y. So, and also it is infeasible to find for which two messages the same code has been generated. So in fifth step, weak collision resistant, what it is specifying is, so there are two messages. For those two messages, same hash code is generated, but one of the message, so we know that one of the message is the x, but it is impossible to find y. That is impossible in the sense we will not find that in polynomial time. And so if there is a hash code, suppose we can assume that it is generated for two different messages, then it is hard to find that the two messages, for which two messages it is going to generate the hash code. So that is the strong collision resistant. So these are the properties of hash code. So you can go through the description. So in order to generate the hash code, we will use some algorithms. So we'll discuss the algorithms. So in your syllabus, you have two algorithms. One is SHA-512 algorithm and the other one is SHA-3 algorithm. SHA-512 and SHA-3. So whatever the algorithm, so the general structure of the hash code, whenever it is going to generate a hash code for a given message, so how it is going to generate the hash code is, so simply the entire message, so whatever the message is there, that will be divided into n number of blocks or L number of blocks. Entire message will be divided into L number of blocks. Each block will have some fixed size. Each block will have some fixed size. So if you observe this diagram, this Y0 is the first block of message. Y1 is second block till the last block YL minus 1. So message is divided into L blocks from 0 to L minus 1. Then what it is going to do is, so it is going to, there is a function. So this is a hash function. F is the hash function. So this function is going to take the inputs. It is going to take two inputs. One is the block, the message. So not the entire message. So the message is of B bits. The size of message is B bits. Okay, entire the block size is B bits. Along with that message, it is going to take another input, that is initial value. Okay, that is the initialization value. So where the size of the message initial value is n bits. Okay, n bits. The size of block is B bits, and the size of initial value, or the chaining variable, we can call it as a chaining variable, so is n bits. So it takes these two messages and it will be given to the function. So that function is one compression algorithm. That is a compression algorithm. So by taking this B bits and n bits data, it is going to produce n bits output. It is going to produce the n bit output. Again, for the second, the same function will be applied with the second block data. Second block data, and the output of the first block will be taken as a input by the function, compression function, and it is going to generate. So for all the blocks, the same function will be applied. So this is the procedure of the hash code, the general procedure of the hash code. So there are different types of algorithms. Okay. So one of the algorithms is SHA algorithm, secure hash algorithm. Secure hash algorithm is a, which is used to generate the hash code for a given message. So it is going to generate the hash code. So the hash code is a fixed size, fixed length output. Hash code is a fixed length output, where the size of the message is arbitrary length. So if we see the history of this SHA algorithm, secure hash algorithm, it was developed by National Institute of Standards Technology. So in 1993. Okay, and the revised version is released in 1995. And the first, so there are many versions in SHA algorithm. The first version is called as the SHA-1. First version of SHA algorithm is SHA-1 algorithm. So initially, the developers has given the name of the algorithm as secure hash standard, but later it was changed to secure hash algorithm. So actually, in order to generate this hash function, we'll use different types of algorithms. So not only the hash function or the hash code. So hash code is also called as what? Hash code is also called as the message digest, isn't it? Message digest. So in order to generate this message digest, we can also use some other algorithms like MD4, MD5, message digest 4, message digest 5. Some algorithms are used. So the implementation of this SHA algorithm is based on the MD4. So message digest algorithms will come in message authentication code. So we'll discuss the message, what is message authentication code in coming lectures. So SHA algorithm is based on the MD4 algorithm, and it was developed by Ron Rivest, who is the developer of RSA algorithm. So we discussed RSA in public key crypto system, right? It is a asymmetric key crypto system. So one of the persons who developed in RSA is Ron Rivest. So Ron Rivest developed this MD4 algorithm. And also there is MD4, both MD5 algorithms are there, so which are used to generate the message authentication code. So which is similar to the hash code. So based on this MD4 and MD5, this SHA algorithm was developed. So you can go through the description. So there, as I said, there are different versions in SHA algorithm. SHA-1 is there, SHA-2 is there, SHA-3 is also there. Along with the SHA-3, there is SHA-256, SHA-224 is also there. SHA-224 is also there. And 256, SHA-324 and SHA-512. What it represents is, it is going to specify what SHA-512 means. What it specifies is, 512 indicates the size of the hash code. Okay, the hash code size. Irrespective of the message size, it is going to generate 512 bits hash code. Okay, 512 bits hash code will be generated by SHA-512 algorithm. Okay, so these are the different versions of the SHA algorithms. You can go through the description. So we'll see the implementation part, how the design part of the SHA-1 algorithm. In your syllabus, you have SHA-512 and SHA-3. So the structure of the design of SHA-512 depends on the SHA-1. So we'll discuss first SHA-1 algorithm. So SHA-1 takes input with maximum length is less than 2 bar 64 bits. Message length. So as I said, hash code will take any arbitrary length message. Okay, hash function will take any arbitrary length message and it produces the fixed length. Here, SHA-1 takes the message, the size of the message is maximum 2 bar 64 bits. Maximum length of the message is 2 bar 64 bits and it produces the output of 160 bits message digest or hash code. That is, H of M is 160 bits for SHA-1 algorithm. Okay. And the input is processed in 512 bit. So every block will have 512 bits. The block size. So here in this, here the size of Y0 is 512 bits. Again, Y1 is also 512 bits. So every block will have the same size, 512 bits block size. And finally, whatever is going to produce. So this is the output CV. Okay, changing variable L, CV, L is the hash code. That hash code size is 160 bits for SHA-1 algorithm. Okay, for SHA-1 algorithm, 160 bits is the output hash code size. Okay, so this is the representation or the block diagram of the SHA-1 algorithm. So block diagram. So what it is going to do is, it is going to take the message. It is going to take the entire message. What is the maximum size of the message? Maximum size is 2 bar 64 bits. The message should be less than 2 bar 64 bits. So if you observe the top right corner, message length is K mod 2 bar 64. So it may be less than 2 bar 64, right? So entire message will be represented in K bits. Then what it is going to do is, it is going to add some bits. Okay, it is going to add some bits. So this is the padding, we call it as the padding bits. So what the use of padding is, we need to know what is the size of the message. So maximum it can allow 2 part 64 bits message, but what is the original size of the message? So that the value will be added over here. Okay, that value will be added. So in order to add that value, so it allocates some size. So it allocates 512 bits. It allocates 512 bits. So among the 512, so it may have, so whatever the size of the message is there, it may take some n number of bits. So where n might be less than or equals to 512 bits, what it is going to do is, whatever the remaining bits are there, it simply will add 100 and so on. Okay, 100 will be added to the length of the message, to the length of the message. So that is the message, the size of the message, and then so the entire size will be represented with this L. It is going to specify the length of the message, and then it is going to divide the message into different blocks. So the different blocks are, so y0, the size is 512. Again, y1 is 512, y2 is 512, and so on. Yl minus 1. There are L blocks. There are L blocks, and then it is going to take one initial value, isn't it? So this is a compression function. So H is SHA is nothing but it is a compression function. So what this compression function is going to take, the input is, so for SHA-1 algorithm, it is going to take 512 bits input from the message and 160 bits from the initial value, and then so by after giving to the compression function, it produces the 160 bits. That 160 bits and the second block's 512 bits will be given to the compression function again. So till it reaches the last one. So last block will produce some message or the value, the chaining value or the chaining value will be produced. So that size of the chaining value is 160 bits. So the output of SHA-1 algorithm is 160 bits message digest or the hash code. So here the algorithm, so how the internal procedure of this, the internal design is specified in different multiple steps. There are 5 steps. What it is going to do is, first step is, it is going to append padding bits. See, here it is going to add the bits, isn't it? Whatever the message is there, it is going to add bits. How many bits it is going to add and how it is going to add is simply the message is padded so that its length is congruent to the 448 modulo 512. So why? Because the length of each and every block should be 512 bits. Okay, length of everything should be 512 bits. And why it is going to add only 448 bits? Why it should add only, so here it is going to add the bits like this, 1000 and so on like that. Why it should add 448 bits is the length will be added. Okay. So here it is going to add whatever the original message we are going to take, it is going to specify the length of the message. So length of the message will be represented. So maximum length is, it is going to take only 2 part 64 bits. So the length of the message requires only 64 bits. 64 bits. So that is why it has to specify, it has to add the remaining values. So 448 bits should be added. Among the 448 bits, first bit is MSB bit is 1, remaining all are 0. The length of the padded message is 64 bits, less than the integer multiples of 512. Understood how it is going to append the padding bits? the length of the message, so will require the maximum. Suppose the length is message length is 2 power 64 bits. 2 power 64 bits. Then in order to specify the length of the message, it requires 64 bits. Remaining 448 bits should be added. Okay, so those bits should be padded to the given message in order to make that as a 512 bit block, because every block size should be 512 bits. Okay, the padding bit consists of single 1 bit followed by the necessary number of 0 bits. So it may be minimum, there will be 447 zeros, and maximum, so it may have, so if the message length is only 1 bit, assume that message length is only 1 bit, then the remaining all 63 bits will be 0 only. So 447 plus 63 will be added. Understood? So once the bits are added to the message, so it is going to append the length. Appending the length is nothing but that the message will be the length of the message will be increased, because it is going to add the length of the message. It is going to add the bits, how many bits are required to specify the length of the message. So that length will be added to the message. See here, first step is it is going to take padding of bits. Okay, it is going to specify how many number of bits required to add. Then whatever the number of bits are there, that will be append to the message. So that is nothing but the append the length. The block of 64 bits appended to the message. So here this is the 64 bits bit length block. This one is 64 bit length. So in this 64, it may have some all 64 may not have the ones or zeros, it may have the message length is only some 2 bits, then the value will be the message length is only 2 bits, then we need to take the value to 10, remaining all 62 bits we need to consider as zeros itself. But the maximum length is 64 bits. 64 bits will be added. Unsigned 64-bit integer and contains the length of the original message. So that is adding the length to the message. Then, so after adding the message, what it is going to do is it is going to initialize the buffer. Okay, because it has to specify. So we'll see the block diagram. Before going to discuss this, we'll see this diagram. How it is going to generate 160 bits. See, it is going to take 512 bits message, and then it is going to take the initial vector 160 bits. It is dividing the 160 bits into 5 blocks. Okay, so every block will get the 32 bits. So if you observe here, A, B, C, D, E. So the 160 bits is divided into 5 blocks. So each block got 32 bits, A, B, C, D, E. Then, so these 5 blocks will be given to the function f. So where this function is going to executed in 20 steps. So within this function, it is going to perform the permutations and the substitutions and all. Then it is going to generate some output. Again, whatever the output is getting, that output will be given to the, again, the same function. The procedure of function 1 is same as the procedure of function 2. Internally, it is going to have 20 steps. Every function will have the 20 steps. So for every function, it is going to give, every function is going to take 2 inputs. One is 512 bits data, and the one is 160 bits. The changing value will be considered. Then it is going to produce, again, once 160 bits data will be produced. Final round is going to produce 160 bits data will be produced. So whatever the data is going to be produced, that data and initial 160 bits, So here it is going to produce 160 bits. That 160 bits and the initial value is there, chaining value is there, that will be performed XOR. So after performing the XOR operation, finally it is going to get the 160 bits data. Okay, this is the output of the first block. So for every block, the same thing will be repeated. So here 160-bit buffer is used to hold the intermediate values, and final result of the hash function is represented as 5 32-bit registers. So there are 5 blocks or the 5 registers. And so these 5 registers will be initialized. So the chaining value or the initialization vector is of 160 bits, right? So 160 bits, the values of this 160 bits will be represented like this. This will be this 160 bits, and the plain text or the message will be given to the function. So inside this, the function is going to perform 20 steps. This function will perform 20 steps, then it is going to produce again a data of 160 bits. It will be stored in multiple registers, like it will be divided into 32 bits data, I mean 5 blocks. Each block will have the 32 bits data. So this is the initial values of this initial vector contains the 5 blocks. A value will be some hexadecimal representation is there. 32 bits of data will be represented in a hexadecimal format. So every one will be represented with 4 bits, right? Then, so after taking the registers data, it is going to, the function, whatever the compression function is there, it is going to process that in 20 steps. 20 steps will be given, 20 steps will be required in order to process. So after performing the 20 steps, it is going to produce again 160 bits data. So that will be given to the next function. So like that, it will have how many functions? So this has SHA-1 algorithm has 4 functions, isn't it? F1, F2, F3, F4. So every function will have 20 steps. 4 functions are there. So then finally it is going to produce the output. Here it is going to produce the output of 160 bits. 160 bits output will be given. So that is called as a message digest or the message hash code. So how it is going to perform the internal representation. SHA-1 is given. Yes, understood. So this is the general representation of the SHA-1 algorithm. So actually in your syllabus you have SHA-512. So but SHA-512 is also based on the, all SHA algorithms are based on the same structure. Okay, but the number of rounds will be different, and the size of the input it is going to be different, and the output it is going to produce will be different. So SHA-1 is producing what? 160 bits hash code, whereas SHA-512 is going to produce 512 bits message, this hash code, and this SHA-1 is going to take the input size. Every block will have 512 bits. Whereas SHA-512 will take the 1024 bits of the input, and the number of steps. So here SHA-1 requires 20 steps. So whereas SHA-512 requires 64 steps. Like that, it will be differ in terms of steps, in terms of the input size, and in terms of the output it is going to produce. Okay. Please before going to discuss that, we see the different types of SHA versions. So as I said, there is SHA-1 algorithm, SHA-256, SHA-384, SHA-521 algorithms are there. So the parameters, input, what it is, message digest size means this is the output. Message digest is nothing but output of this algorithm. SHA-1 is producing 160 bits and SHA-512 is producing 512 bits. SHA-384 is producing 384 bits. Hash code. Okay. And message size, how much size message it is going to take is, it takes 2 power 64. SHA-1 takes 2 power 64 message length. Here it is going to take 2 power 64. Whereas SHA-512 is the size of the SHA-512, the message is, it can take the message of 2 power 128 bits. Okay. And the block size is 512 bits in SHA-1 algorithm, whereas SHA-512, it is going to take the message block size is 1024 bits. That is Y0 is equals to 1024 in SHA-512. And the word size. So internally it is going to divide into the words, multiple words, right? The word size of the SHA-1 is 32 bits. Whereas word size is 64. That is 4 bytes. Here it is going to take 4 bytes and SHA-512 is going to take 8 bytes. And number of steps it is going to perform is 80 because it is using from F1 to F4. There are 4 functions. Each function requires 20 steps. So totally it is going to perform 80 steps. Again, SHA-512 also performing the 80 steps. And the security of this is security of SHA-1 algorithm is 80 compared to the SHA-1, it provides the more security. It is going to provide 256 security. Okay. All of you answer this whole question. So, okay, I'll give one poll question. All of you answer this. Is all of you answer the question? Yes, I received only 7 responses. All of you give your answer and leave the session. If you have any doubts, you can stay. Thank you.